So welcome everyone to this wonderful presentation of a long-awaited new jewel in the crown of UCSD. And that is the UCSD Craft Center. Visual artist and designer Annika Nelson is with us. She was chosen by Housing and Dining and Hospitality to lead this new 11,000 square foot UC San Diego Craft Center. This is a milestone in a long-awaited return of this beloved creative community hub. And Nelson's career has been dedicated to forging connection and inspiring creativity. She earned a bachelor's degree in studio arts from UC Santa Cruz, and she went on to study printmaking at the University of Applied Arts in Vienna, Austria. Nelson served as the studio program curator and art director for the Children's Museum in San Diego, Museo de los Niños, and most recently, she worked with a team of instructors and program managers to provide courses in photography and fine arts at UC San Diego Extension, eventually overseeing a department whose portfolio included arts, humanities, languages, and digital arts. She was also an instructor at the original Craft Center. We are also being joined today by Russell King, who serves as a special projects advisor in the Chancellor's office. Russell has a BA in theater management from the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and he earned a fundraising certificate from UCSD Extension. He served as the president of the board of directors of Malachoc Dance and has worked for UC San Diego for some 25 years in external relations and now at the Chancellor's office. So welcome to the two of you, and please share with us your vision for the new Craft Center.
Thank you so much for such a warm welcome, and I'm truly excited to be here, especially because I'm joined by my fabulous partner in crime, Russ King. I wouldn't be here without him, and I think that the way we run the Russ and Annika show is we sort of tag team and interrupt each other. So hopefully, you know, this format will work well for our style of presentation. I think if nothing else, our enthusiasm and passion for what we're doing will show through your computer screens. And if you're ready, we have a slideshow. If you can cue that up, then we can give you guys a sneak peek into the new Craft Center. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so this is just our title page. And just to give you an idea, one of the first things I did my first week was to work with a team of designers to come up with a logo, which was like kind of doing dessert first. Okay, next. And Russ, chime in anytime. But these are photos of the old Craft Center, which many of you are probably familiar with. It was sort of nestled in that little grove of eucalyptus by the old student union. And it was a wonderfully ramshackle, very creative space that offered a lot of different crafts, including ceramics and glass blowing and neon sign making, basket weaving, and printmaking. I got to teach printmaking there. And as many of you guys also know, it was closed in 2012. It just had, it had been loved to death in some ways, the facility, that it really was probably, you know, sort of held together by termites holding hands. And it was, you know, it was time to rethink what we were doing with this. And so it's taken a while to get it back on campus, but through the hard work and dedication of people like Russ King, as well as a number of campus folks and community folks, we're back. So ready or not, here we come. Russ, do you have anything to add about that piece of the puzzle?
Sure. I think I've probably been so quiet that I'm making Annika a little nervous by not talking, because it's probably about the longest I've gone without actually saying anything while she and I have been on a Zoom together. But first I'd like to say welcome everyone. Thank you all for joining us and learning a little bit more about the Craft Center. There's a number of people that are on the call that know me when I had brown hair. That's all changed, and I'm so glad to see you all continuing your relationship with the university in such a dynamic way. But yeah, I mean, part of where we started, obviously this slide shows the beginning, you know, and what was Craft Center 1.0. And as you all know, how the campus has evolved and how this place has evolved and building codes have evolved, that we really had to rethink some of the program here. The image that you see behind me in my slide is actually the construction on the third floor. This is actually the Craft Center, where I'm sort of virtually standing inside of. And so the new place is going to be very different, and it will also need to have some different code and program requirements. However, what made the Craft Center unique was it as a creative community, and we thought the thing that we cannot lose here is this unique, exciting, creative community. And so that has been, from the very get-go of our planning, part of what we are doing. That is the through line that we are following. And while not every program may be here, and Annika has slides that will show more about the programs and other programs that we plan to do, but really that unique, exciting, creative community is been our motivation and our through line. So Annika, back to you.
Thank you, Russ. And yeah, do you see why I like it when he talks? He's so eloquent. And it is really true that spirit of the unique creative community is alive and well. And it's just been waiting for a new home, and we've almost got it. So let's see the next slide, please. So I'm going to take you guys on a virtual tour of the space. You guys might have already seen it, but this
I go up and get my hearing aids. Sure. Do
now. So we'll take a quick tour of this architectural rendering of the new space, and here we go. So actually, if you guys, oh, whoops. Can you click back? If you can click your cursor right on it, it should play. Maybe at the bottom of the slide. Usually it works to the right if you click on that one. Nope, maybe not.
You might have to escape out of the presentation to see the browser.
Ooh, thank you, Amy.
It looks like it's...
Thanks, Amy, because you're always saving me too when I was doing classes, so I appreciate it.
This is a photo and not a video. I don't know.
Okay. I can actually, can you let me share my screen and then I can take us, is that possible?
Yes, you are a co-host.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to cue that up and share that with you guys. Hold on one second. Get back to you guys. Okay. Here we go. All right. Can everybody see this okay?
Doing great, thank you.
All right. All right, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. Okay, so the new Craft Center is located in the heart of the new North Torrey Pines Living and Learning neighborhood. And this is the entrance to the craft center. And what's wonderful about this mixed use neighborhood is that we've got residence halls right up here. We've got a chop house restaurant right here. We've got classrooms. We've got an amazing auditorium. We've got all this outdoor space. We've got an elevator to readily accessible parking, which is huge. So you can see it's right in the thick of things, which is a little different than the old craft center. So we're pivoting around to get a monumental view of this entire complex, which is just really, it's very fun. I've been on site a couple times and it takes my breath away. So here, I'm going to pause really quickly before we dive inside, and you can see, basically, I'm circling with my cursor all the space dedicated to the ceramics program. The ceramics program was, and I imagine will be, really one of the main offerings that we have at the Craft Center. You can see we've got a nice large studio with 20 electric wheels. We've got a separate room for hand building and glazing. We've got a room for electric kilns, and we've got this space for 2 gas kilns and a spray booth, so you can get that really perfect finish with glaze on your ceramic pieces. And what's brilliant about this design is that the architects working with Russ, as well as some subject area experts, some artists, they really designed this to be the ideal space to be creative in. There's tons of natural light. It's really welcoming. It's super visible. So we're hoping that we attract a lot of interest just by sort of being on display. Also, which is sort of fortuitous, and now in the time of COVID, is that these are all big glass garage doors that we can throw open and have essentially an indoor-outdoor space, which should help when we're actually trying to, sort of implement the social distancing protocols. And so we're gonna pivot around to the other side of the building, and we'll get a sneak peek into, this is our woodworking studio right there, and this is our jewelry and flame-worked glass space. This is going to be the Craft Center office right there, or potentially something else. We don't know. I don't think I'm going to be in my office very much, so I'm saying it's prime studio space. So welcome through the front doors of the UC San Diego Craft Center. So this space is, oh, whoops, hold on. That space that we first entered is basically our combo space. It's a space for exhibits, for craft fairs, for demonstrations, for events. And who knows, we may have an installation from Design Lab called Precious Plastics in that space. It's sort of an incubator space to try out all sorts of things. I'm hoping to work with our woodworking instructor to design a welcome desk that's on wheels, so we can scoot it around, and different display spaces that we can scoot around and really maximize this amazing space. We'll also have a retail aspect of this where people can buy materials, tools, and then art pieces from instructors and students. There's a lot going on. And so now we're going to enter the jewelry and flamework studio. What's wonderful about this space is that we worked with a previous jewelry instructor from the old Craft Center, Tara Magbu, to design this space. And Russ, do you want to talk a little bit about how this space is evolving?
Yeah, we're super excited because, there's 2 elements here. And jewelry making, you can look at it from a metal smithing, you can look at it from a flamework component. There's a lot of different aspects of it. And we've been exploring different areas But largely where we really kind of come to is a lot of flame work and ways to do different flame work, whether that be small bead making, maybe some trinkets or other pieces for jewelry, could be any number of things. And so when we're looking at these studios, we're really trying to be as flexible as we can and thinking about how this studio can serve one purpose perhaps for a jewelry making component and another aspect for a more glass focused or flame work focused effort. And so we're really trying to make these spaces just as flexible as they can be and try not to tie them down too specifically. There are, yeah, I'll just stop there because I'll just keep talking otherwise.
I know. We get very excited and then we get totally into the details. But yeah, Russ nailed it. We're really trying to make the best use of this 11,000 square feet and keep it nimble, right? Keep it nimble and responsive to what people want. We don't know yet entirely what people want. Maybe they do want basket weaving. Who knows? So this is our woodworking studio, and what's exciting about this is that I think that there's a lot of people, myself included, who have never really learned how to use a bandsaw or a sort of a disc sander or a drill press and things like that, and this is a wonderful space to learn how to use all these amazing tools, whether you are making a cutting board or a wooden bowl, or maybe even a part of a piece that is going to be a piece of jewelry, right? So this is really designed for kit work, so smaller projects, and really to sort of get people familiar with the process and the tools involved with woodworking.
And so I'm going to tag in here with Annika on this, is that for whatever reason, this sort of studio space sometimes is more male dominated than female dominated. And I am so excited that Annika's really first hire for this studio is a female instructor who will help shape this program. And so again, we're looking at trying to expand that out and wanting to make sure that everyone feels comfortable in all of these studios, regardless of experience or gender identity or any number of things. So hats off to Annika for doing that.
Yeah, she's fabulous. And one thing I'll just say about that is a number of some of the former instructors from the old craft center have come forward to sort of contribute, but there's this whole new crop of MFA grads really from San Diego State who are so enthusiastic and just phenomenal artisans, and so dedicated to sharing their craft and super enthusiastic. And I love it. They just say, Annika, we just want to have potlucks. So we're going to have potlucks with all these people. All right. So this way you can see that flexible space again. So imagine having the craft sale here, or imagine having maybe a costume design sort of event where people can come and make costumes for Comic-Con, say, for example, or to have a demonstration of sort of any number of art forms that's out in this very visible space, or having exhibits. I gave a presentation this morning to the MFA students in Viz Arts, and they're very excited about sort of using this space and seeing what this space really can bring about. And then we've got this wonderful, really enormous multi-purpose room where there's wonderful AV setup in there. Again, really wonderful natural light. with opening to the outdoor patio there. So there's a lot that can happen in this space, everything from book arts to sort of fiber arts to some of the jewelry. So if we're busy doing glass work in the jewelry glass studio, that some of the beading and the wire jewelry that can take place in this space. And we'll zoom out from that space, moving right along. Get another sneak peek at that wonderful flexible space. And then we're going to enter into the ceramic studio. We're going out those wonderful glass doors. They're right here. So here you get to see the electric kiln, not kilns, the wheel setup. We've got a pug mill, we got a door to a damp room. So for works in progress, we've got a wonderful sink. And again, these great garage doors that open up to make it a nice indoor-outdoor space. And moving on, we've got this other room with tables. So this could be for glazing or for hand building. We could run 2 different classes simultaneously because we've got a door that separates those two. And this wooden door then leads to a room for all the glazing and all the materials and the mixing. And then we've got the electric kilns there and plenty of room for shelves. So for all those works in progress that basically go along this sort of conveyor belt from start to finish, they'll work their way through all these different wonderful equipment spaces. So these are our 2 gas kilns, and those will be run at Cone 10, which will lure in a lot of the professionals who may have, you know, lesser powerful kilns at home, and this will bring them into that space because the hope is that we get beginners, intermediate, advanced folks all working together during open studio time and interacting and learning, you know, as much from each other as they do from, you know, taking a class. It's, you know, that's what's I think is wonderful about the way this space is designed and sort of the concept behind there's a lot of, you know, essentially peer-to-peer interaction and peer-to-peer, you know, sort of knowledge transfer that can happen in really authentic, organic ways. And then moving down this interior hallway, we are going to see a piece of the puzzle that's super snazzy. This is something we didn't offer at the old craft center. But this is something that really is representative of San Diego, has been the representative of San Diego for a long time, and is really part of the culture of UCSD. So this is surfboard shaping. We've got 5 bays. 3 of them are dedicated to shaping the foam blank, which is essentially sort of a sculpture project, right? And then we've got 2 more bays here, which are for sanding. That is sort of another part of the process that is a little bit more fine-tuning, and just there's very specific lighting requirements that are needed in each of those specific spaces. And what was really clever is they created this mezzanine space for works in process. So you know, really thinking through how to maximize every inch of this space. Russ and the team of architects and consultants did just a fabulous job, because you cannot really shape a good surfboard in one day.
And so while Annika takes us across the hall here to look at the glassing studio, I want to send my thanks out to whoever did our theme music, because I always think about that Beach Boys song, Surfing USA, because of course there's the reference to La Jolla, and I was like, oh yeah, that's perfect. So thanks for nailing that one for us.
I thought it would be fun.
It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect.
Yeah, it really is perfect. Yeah, because really, UCSD is rated the #1 surfing university in the United States, probably if not the world, by virtue of its proximity to Black's Beach and other breaks, really nearby. And so what we're looking at now is the glassing room, and this is really a wonderful part of the program that a lot of other surfboard shaping programs do not include. This is where you put the glass, the resin on the foam board to really seal it up and make it, waterproof. And it's a wonderful process. It's pretty complex in some ways. It's incredibly beautiful if you add tints to it. And so this really will, sort of teach people from start to finish how to make your own board. So this is gonna help us stand out among other programs. And again, with wonderful windows so that people can see what's happening in these spaces and hopefully be inspired to come join us. And it's just a beautiful space. And then we're gonna pop out and then we're gonna cruise around to this next space, which is a prep kitchen. And it's built with, sort of typical utilities that you would find in a normal home. So this isn't a professional kitchen setup, but it was really designed in mind to teach people about sort of things they can do at home. Everything from healthy eating habits to working with folks on campus to talk about food insecurity issues. I'm envisioning having pajama nights for the students in the dorms so they can come down in their pajamas and learn how to make healthy snacks that will feed their mind and their body. But also, this is a space where we can do natural dyes, right? We can use the heat to produce dyes out of natural materials. We can do candle making. We can do soap making. We can do any number of different things in this space. So we've got so many options. It's really wonderful. And that is the craft center. Dun, dun, dun.
So Annika, maybe we can get back to
Back to
the
our
slide presentation and kind of run through some of the current programs that we feel are well on our way to being presented, in the next few months even.
Yeah, exactly. So if we can go to the next slide. So just a snapshot of ceramics in action. You saw the wheels. These are wheels in action and some beautiful finished bowls with glazes on those. We'll of course also have hand building and any number of different types of classes and workshops. Next. And then jewelry, again, it's so fun sort of putting these slides together and coming up with some inspiration and sneak peeks at what's coming. So wire jewelry, beaded jewelry that's made with yarn and thread, of course molding and casting, all those different types of things. Go ahead, next. Flamework glass. And like Russ was mentioning, using those torches to do smaller glass items. You can see some beads. And then we've got, I couldn't resist not putting in this one paperweight that I think Russ needs to tell you about.
Yeah, so this paperweight is actually an interesting collaboration between Dave Graber, who made the bees, and Paul Stenkart, who really created this whole piece into its entirety. And these are really two of really I want to say the world's best glass artists, certainly American glass artists. maybe some of you are probably Googling Italians, and there may be some that are beating this, but living American glass artists, these two are rather unstoppable, and I have no idea how they do this.
I know.
They've spent a long time figuring it out, but they have also lent their expertise to us. And so Annika and I have been able to have free and clear access to them. They have helped us build our studios. They are super excited about what we're doing here, and as are many artists of really amazing national and international reputations.
That's true. Okay, next slide, please. And this is a woodworking, and this is actually a photo that our woodworking instructor, Erin Belling, this is her in action. So stay tuned for her. She teaches a lot of different woodworking classes, in particular a woodworking workshop exclusively for women, with the idea of, sort of catching them up on things they may have missed out on. So next slide. Then back to surfboard shaping. What's wonderful about surfboard shaping, it's this intersection between sort of sculpture, engineering, and performance. All those things have to go into the thought process and design process of creating these boards that will get used. We're working with the rec department, with the folks that teach the surfing classes on on how we can help people go from creating their own boards to surfing them, and then maybe if they need to, they can hang them up on their walls.
And we've also worked with people from SIO and thinking about sustainable practices and sustainable surfboard materials, and one of the larger aspects of our approach to the Craft Center has been the sustainability, because craft making can tend to use a lot of energy and perhaps chemicals and things like that that are not particularly earth friendly. And so our whole process here has really involved how can we do this in an effective and creative way. And we have alumni who have come up with algae surfboards and how to effectively utilize materials that weren't available, say, even 5 or 10 years ago. So we've really been pushing our brains here on how to make this a safe and very UCSD version of a craft center.
Yes. That's an important point, Russ. Okay, next slide. Back to cooking, because it's lunchtime and we're probably all a little hungry. Again, I'd love to have classes and everything from cookie baking to chocolate to fermenting kombucha to healthy salads to healthy midnight snacks. Possibly, who knows, how this might expand. But I think it's a wonderful way to include the community in a new and different way. The old Craft Center didn't have a kitchen, so now we do. Okay, next slide. And then there's mixed media. I think what's really important is to come up with, to be responsive. What do people want to learn? Do they want to learn mosaics? Do they want to learn printmaking? Do they want to learn how to weave? There's a lot of different things that this space can accommodate, and we want to be responsive and to what people are interested in. I've got a lot of people voting for mosaics, so that's on the menu for sure. Okay, next slide. And printmaking, because I am a printmaker and I'm thoroughly addicted to the process, there's going to be printmaking. Many of you might have seen us on campus at different campus events, staff association events, the groundbreaking for the North Torrey Pines Living and Learning neighborhood, where we've done some printmaking activities on campus. We'll also have We'll have wood block, we'll have silk screen, we'll have many different types of materials and methods that we offer, because as an arts educator, one of the things I'm really committed to is providing a wide variety of things for people to try. I've published 7 children's books. I was a professional artist for many years, and I hate drawing. And I mean that if so being able to find what your instrument is, for lack of a better word. Do you think in 2D or do you think in 3D? Are you an amazing sculptor? Are you better at weaving, or can you come up with the most amazing natural dye out of avocado pits? There's so many things for you to try and sample that you're going to find your instrument. You're going to find what resonates with you, what process feel like in your hands as you grapple with that. And there's also something I think that's important to talk about, and that is putting the time and the effort in. I think that we live in a world where people want to be insta anything, you name it, insta surfer, insta artist, insta anything. And I think what I love is that so many of the instructors that we've hired really have put the years in, have put the hours in, and it shows. And to create a space where people can build their craft, fine tune their craft, I think is something that I think is really necessary in sort of the instant gratification world. Sorry, that's my soapbox. Ooh. Okay, next slide. Book arts. I'm also obsessed with book arts. I love making books out of different materials, out of recycled materials a lot. I love helping people create books that can be functional or just decorative. So those are just some of projects that I've done with my students, and just threw them in for fun. We'll be doing that. So we know we have this treasure trove of really of a brain trust in all of you. You have had probably very long relationship with campus. You have an interest or curiosity about the Craft Center. So I'd love to use some of this time, if possible, to hear from you and find out, some answers to these questions. Where do you currently find inspiration and direction for being creative or for making things? How has your connection to campus evolved beyond your work life, beyond your work history? Being part of this retirement association, seems like a really wonderful space to have community. And then, and this is probably maybe the most important question for me, is how can the Craft Center nurture your relationship with campus and grow the quality of your life in retirement in this phase? So I don't know. Yeah.
Let me jump in there, and then we'll field questions from everybody. But Annika, we have been waiting with bated breath for this thing to come about. I'm trying to think of the gal that, there's another one, her name is
Helen Kagan.
Helen, thank you, Helen.
Yeah.
There we go, Helen Kagan, who has kept us apprised as this project evolved. And any chance we had to jump in and be supportive, we were always passing information out to our members, write to this person, send a supportive email there, contribute money, because our members care desperately about this center and are really excited to see it coming about. So please know that, like, as soon as you have class schedules, you're going to want to send that to us, and it's going to go out to all of our membership, and they will be pounding on your door from day one. So what, can you give us a quick idea about timing?
Yes, In fact, we can go to the next. We can go to the next slide. That's just some more questions because I'm insatiably curious. I just want to know. I'm already seeing on the chat what other crafts people are interested in, and maybe this is something people can think of. And I'll have my email at the end, and people can just barrage me with more questions and ideas. This is our sandbox for us all to play in. This is our space, and I want to be responsive as much as possible to what you guys want. There's an accessibility aspect to this in terms of sort of how much time people have, or keeping enrollment fees reasonable. So these are some questions that I have, but in the next slide, if you want to go. Oh, well, there's that too, Russ.
Oh yeah, that we got.
That. Well, maybe we'll save that for a little bit. Can we go to the next slide, and then we'll go back to, so tentative timeline, right? Please take this all with a grain of salt because we're living in the time of COVID. We're hoping to have some online offerings, some DIY holiday gift type workshops in November or December. This is taking a little bit longer just because we need to actually have a website up and running and an actual system for taking enrollments and taking people's enrollment fees. So that's taking a little bit longer, but stay tuned for that. We are definitely having online offerings November, December, worst case scenario, January. But then we are having the fabulously titled, thanks to Russ, open house series. So February 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th, we are having a 4-day extravaganza titled For the Love of Craft. And this will be a series of demonstrations of some tours. If say you just want to come and you don't want to get your hands dirty, you can come sign up for a very small, socially distanced, engineered tour of the facility, or you can come to a demonstration by one of our instructors, or a mini workshop where you come and get your hands dirty. So there'll be 4 days of offerings that will be our first introduction to the Craft Center. So I really hope you can keep those dates in your mind. The rest of the winter quarter will sort of be continuing in the vein of sort of sampling. So we'll have shorter workshops where we really are getting to know our studio and getting to know the rhythm of who's coming, what do they want. So these will be sort of sampling workshops that'll probably be a little less technical. So just as we're making sure the kilns are up and running, sort of all the machinery is as it should be, we're going to use winter quarter to be sort of our big appetizer. And then, in spring, we're hoping to have in-person offerings that run the whole range of what we really hope to offer. But these will all be socially distanced, but this will be the first quarter that we'll offer sort of the whole menu of offerings. And then summer session, we will have the whole host of offerings, possibly in slightly different formats. We might have craft camp for middle and high school students, maybe even for sort of people who are not in high school, but who want sort of an intense immersive experience. You want
How about craft camp for seniors?
I think that would be so fun. I would love.
We could totally do that.
We could totally do that. I just am sad that I'm not allowed to go to summer camp anymore. So part of my dream is to have summer camp for all of us. So yeah, we could absolutely have craft camp for senior, whether we could, do it as sort of a sampling where you can sort of try a little bit of this and a little bit of that and come home with this wonderful smorgasbord of projects that you've made, or if you want to really dive in and learn everything you possibly can about just jewelry or about fiber arts or about, we've got these amazing people who are incredible with natural dyes. So there's so many different things we could do. So that is our tentative timeline. We are on social media. website is still in development, but if you guys are on Instagram or Facebook, we are UCSD Craft Center, and we are giving sneak peeks of who our instructors are, what their projects are, what they do, and also updates on that. We will eventually have a newsletter, and once we get our website up and running, then we'll have a way to start to develop a mailing list. So we're getting there, one inch at a time. And if you, and there's, well, and also just honestly, if you guys want to get involved in terms of being volunteers or instructors, I'm amazed at the hidden talent there is on campus. There's incredible quilters. There's, you know, they're just people who are, you know, I never knew were so talented and have so much experience to share. So we'll have my email for everyone at the end. But feel free to contact me to be maybe a studio monitor or an instructor. There's so many different ways to get involved, and of course as students. And then maybe if we could go back to that one, yes, to who made this. Russ, do you want to talk about this?
So yeah, I'll stop typing to everybody. So this piece is actually a piece that we're trying to find who made this. This piece was made roughly, what, did we say 1994?
Yes.
So around 1994, and it was purchased as part of one of those holiday sales events that happened at the Craft Center. This piece in particular is a beginner piece, and it actually inspired a number, or actually inspired this student who was an undergraduate at the time to create a whole paperweight collection of art. And so the Paul Stankard piece that you saw with the bees in it earlier is part of this former student's collection of paperweights. But it is this piece that started it, that she bought for $10 at the craft sale. And what we have offered to do for her, for this graduate, is to see if we can find out who made this. So should you recognize it as perhaps a piece of yours, or perhaps you know who might have made it, and can help us solve this mystery, that would be wonderful news, because I know that the current owner of this piece would love to meet the maker of this piece.
Thanks, Russ. Right, and we can skip to the very last slide if you're ready. So there's our Instagram and Facebook handle, and also a link to our crowd surfing site. So you can see one of the ways of getting involved, as well as my email at the very bottom. And if you have questions for Russ, I'm sure all of you already know Russ, because everyone knows Russ.